Assalamu alaikum and good evening, children. Can you all hear me? Can you all hear me? Can we start the class? Okay. So, children, if you all have any doubts or if you want to talk to me, leave a message to the co-host. Don't send messages to the host because I will not be seeing your messages when you send it to the host. Okay, children. So, share the link with your friends itself, friends also, so that they will also gain the benefit of the free session. Okay. Right. So, how are y'all, children? How is life? All good? Talk to me. You can send messages. You can unmute and speak. So that is where you will be interactive with me. Then only you will learn. So before starting the class, just talk to me. Have a talk. Then we can get into the lesson. Okay, so that's good. Right. So let's start. Okay. So children, today we are starting the grade 11 syllabus, the very first lesson, which is living tissue. So we are going to study about what? We are going to study about the lesson, living tissues. Right? So are you all 2026 O-level batch students? Is anybody 2026? Can you just clarify with me, children? Come on, you all have to talk. That is where you will learn, children. You don't have to be feared, right? Talk to me. Be nervous. You are here to learn. You should have the confidence of speaking, right? Without speaking, you can't spend the day with me because I will ask hundreds of questions, right? You'll have to talk to me. You'll have to reply. That is the way of learning, not just staring at the screen, okay? So you'll have to be good enough to speak. Okay. Right. So then, children, when you are 2026 O-level batch, you have just about in December, you will be having O-level as for the government informed, right? The government notice in December, you will be having your O-levels, right, children? Now, we are starting the very first lesson, which is the living tissue. We are starting the lesson, living tissue. Children, this is a biology lesson, right? This is a biology lesson. Now, when you talk about science, in grade 10, your science will be classified into three common regions as biology, chemistry, physics, right? So, today you are going to study about biology. Right, children? So, biology means you have to understand, you have to think about your body, you have to think about a plant. That is where you will learn biology. If not, don't ever imagine biology. You have to have the interest to study. You have to have the interest of thinking how this will work, how it is going to function. That is where biology is going to be interesting. Not just memorizing. Okay, memorizing is one option, but not only that, you have to understand how that is done. You have to imagine. That is the point of learning biology. Right. So obviously in the class also I will be maintaining that sort of environment for you to learn, right? Which is suitable for you to memorize on time and study in the class hours itself. That is the only way of succeeding, right? So when you have entire syllabus at once, it is a complex thing. But you learned every week 2 hours, whatever it is necessary. That is easy for you. Studying 2 hours for week is easy, right? Unless you take everything together and sit on a day and study, that is a hard one and you will not even feel to study something like that. Right, children? So now today, from now, you should be interactive. You can send messages. You can talk to me, right? Anything can be done, right? First of all, you should have that mentality of speaking. If you have a doubt, you're sitting here for 2 hours. Whatever the doubts that you get, I am here to clarify with you. Right? So you ask me, I will reply to you. So then everything is sorted out. You will not leave the class by having doubts. Right? That is what I want at the end of the session. You have to talk, right? And then we will have some discussions as well. We will do the tutored questions. So everything will be done. Right, children? Okay. So let's start. Right. So now, children, when you talk about the living tissue, right? Now, as I have told you, biology means what? Biology means the study about the plants, animals, microorganism, all three together you call as the biology. Right? That is the understanding that you have to have. What are you studying? Right? Without having the understanding, you will not understand anything what you learn. First of all, the foundation should be laid stronger. Right? So this is biology, children. Whatever you study about animals, plant, microorganism, all together you call as one category, which is biology. Right, children? Okay. Now, when you talk about that, you know that when you have an organism, right? You have an organism, right? You are an organism as well. Human being is an organism. So when you talk about organism, children, it is a complex structure, right? Aren't you a complex structure? You use your hands, you have fingers, you have heart, you have several organs, several systems working. Aren't you a complex one? Aren't you a complex body structure?
We are complex.
You are complex structure, right, children? So in order to make up a complex structure, there should be several stages they should cross. So they should have the simplest structure as well. The simplest structure. If there is a complex structure, the simplest structure should build up, then to make up a complex structure. So when you take an organism, when you decode an organism, you can find the simple structure as cells, right? Your body is made out of what? Cells. Trillions of cells can be present in your body, right, children? Now, when you know that the simple structure is the cell, right? You have the cells, right? When cells are grouped together, okay, when cells are grouped together, that will form a tissue. What is a tissue? For now, let's have an idea. A group of cells, when you have a combinations of several cells, what will they form, children? They will form a tissue. When you have tissues together, they will make up an organ, right? When you have organs, several organs are working on one target, that will prepare a system. Then all system on your body will function at once, that will make up an organism. So this is the organizational level of a human being, right? Not only a human being, an animal, right? Well, how is that, children? Cells are the simple structure that is present inside your body. When cells are grouped together, they will form into tissues. When tissues are working together, they will form as an organ. All several organs will function together as one system. Then several system in your body, maybe the digestive system, circulatory system, respiratory system. So systems like that working inside one particular body, that will form the organism. That is the understanding. Now, our lesson, we are not going to study about all these things in the lesson. We are going to focus on one particular topic, which is tissues. Our topic for today is tissue. Later, we will be studying about system in the unit 6, the biologic process of human. We will be studying that, right? For now, we are going to study about tissues. So earlier in grade 10, unit 6, you have about cells as well, right? You all have studied about the organelles, what are the organelles present inside the cell. So that was that. So we are in the second stage, we are studying about tissues, right? Now, as I told you, children, tissues are formed by a group of cells. When you have groups of cells, that you call as a tissue. Like this is how you build This is how you build the definition for a tissue. How do you tell the children? Tissues are made up of group of cells. Which is made out of what, children? Group of cells. You have group of cells with a common origin. What is the common origin, children? All are here, whatever it is been here, all are cells. So they should have a common origin. Common origin is what? The cells. Right? Common origin is the cell. So when they have a group of cells, when group of cells from a common origin, okay, with a common origin, that has been modified. Now this group of cell is being modified to perform a particular function. To perform a particular function. So in order to perform a particular function, the group of cells have been modified. Right? The group of cells have been modified. When the group of cells with a origin that has been modified to perform a particular function in the body, you call that as the tissue. Okay? That is how you define the tissue. Right? Listen once again, children. Listen once again. This is easy. Don't understand. Don't think as a complex. This is simple. Right? Don't worry. Listen. Right. Tissues are the group of cells with a common origin. What is a common origin? How they form? By cells. All over here, whatever I have drawn as circles, all are cells. Right? They are from a common origin, which is known as the cell. Right? So, group of cells with a common origin that has been modified to perform a particular function in the body, you call that as the tissue. Is that clear to you? Did you get an idea of what is a tissue? Shall we revise it once again so then you will have a detailed letter and everyone has to reply, huh? Everyone has to talk to me. That is where, children, you will learn. Don't ever blindly believe by staring at the screen you will succeed. Right? It is not going to work. You have to talk. You have to repeat. That is where the learning process starts. Staring at the screen doesn't give you anything. Okay? Talk to me. Okay? No matter what happens, you just mute and speak. Talk. Okay? Right. Listen here. You have a group of cells. When there is a group of cells with a common origin that has been modified to perform a particular function in the body, you call that as what? As what, children? You call that as? Call that as what? Very good. It's a tissue. Right? Once again, make sure you study here itself, children. That is an easy task to do, right? Okay? Listen. Group of cells, when a group of cells with a common origin modified to perform a particular function in the body is known as tissues. Is that clear to you? Right.
Yes.
So now, children, as you know that, right? As you know that biology is a study, right? Biology is a study of plants, animals, and microorganisms. Right, children? Now, you know that microorganisms are the tiny organisms, right? Where they are not developed to form as tissues, right? Microorganisms are only cells. They are not being developed to tissues. So therefore, when you study about the topic tissue, you don't consider microorganism. So, as for that idea, children, in the tissue, the types of tissue, the biology, you have to study about two major variations or categories. That is plant tissue and animal tissue only. What is that, children? You have to study about plant tissue and animal tissue only. Why is that? Because microorganism you don't consider, because microorganism do not develop. They don't have the feature of having tissues because they are the tiny structures. Only cells, the multicellular organisms, they don't develop to tissue. Right? Such a cell division do not take place under microorganism. So you don't study about what are you going to study under the lesson tissue? The major categories are plant tissue and animal tissue. So in this lesson, totally you will be studying about two major types of tissue. Detailed, you will be studying about plant tissue and animal tissue. Right? So are you ready to study about the plant tissue? First of all, we will be studying about plant tissue. Then later in the upcoming classes, we will be talking about animal tissue. Are you ready to study about the plant tissue?
Yes, teacher.
Right, good. Okay. So now children, when you talk about the plant tissue, right? When you talk about the plant tissues are being further classified, right? Plant tissues are being further classified into two, right? Into two. Based on a feature. Based on a feature. That is due to the cell division, right? That is based on or according to cell division, right? Now children, in grade 10 unit 6 you have studied about cell division, right? Did you have studied cell division?
Yes, teacher.
Did you study about cell division? Yes. So how many types of cell divisions do you have? Two. So what are those two?
Meiotic and mitosis.
Very good. Meiosis and mitosis. Okay, meiosis and mitosis. So what do you name as meiosis? What is going to happen in meiosis?
The chromosomes
Fusion
are-
of two gametes. Okay, there will be two gametes interacting. So therefore, as a result, new cells will be formed. Okay, new cells will be produced. That is you call as that type of fusion you call as meiosis. What is mitosis? How many gametes do you need over there? Two. One. Okay, one gamete. Will they produce any cells? Will they produce any new cells?
No.
No, they will not produce new cells. So now children, based on this knowledge, based on this criteria, the plant tissues are being divided into two categories. Plant tissues are being divided into two categories as meristematic tissues, right? As what children? Meristematic tissue and permanent tissue. Okay, meristematic tissue and permanent tissues, right? So in your syllabus, in the plant tissue, with the very first division start based on their cell division, right? So the types are meristematic tissue and permanent tissue, right? So these are the main two classifications that you are studying in detail, right children? Now you know that the cell divisions are two types. If they produce a new cell, that means they have undergone the cell division called the meiosis. If they don't produce a new cell, they have undergone the cell division called the mitosis. That's the idea that you have to have from the grade 10 knowledge. Right. Now when you observe a plant root, okay, when you observe the plant root. Now children, there should be a root apex. No, let me draw the root apex. Okay, this is the root apex, right? Here you have further roots, right? Further roots are being present. Roots are there. Okay. Now children, in a tissue, now this is a root apex now children, there should be meristematic tissue and permanent tissue. You should be able to identify where is meristematic tissue and where is permanent tissue. Right. Now tell me, when a plant growing, which means the root, okay, when the root is growing, how does it grow? This will be longer or this will be wider. Normally what happens? Oh, this will be longer downward or upward. This is under the soil. What's the process that will be happening? Downward. So children, downward means if it is the downwards, new cells are producing. Now, simple idea. When you were a baby, right? You are a baby. Okay, you were a baby, right? Now compare yourself. You are grown up. How did you become big? How did you become big? That is because of your cell divisions. That is because of your cell division. Your cells have been divided into further cells. That is why you're elongated. You're bigger than when you are a baby. So similarly, children, when you take a root can grow down due to the cell division of meiosis. Right? Now, when they are undergoing the process meiosis, that is the meristematic tissue, right? Meristematic tissues will undergo meiosis. They will undergo cell division and they will produce new cells. That is the idea of meristematic tissue. What is meant by meristematic tissue, children? They will undergo what process? Cell division. They will undergo the process cell division. Then what will they do? As a result of cell division, will produce new cells. New cells will be produced. So since new cells are produced only, this is being elongated further. Right? This is being elongated further. So therefore, you should mark the meristematic tissue at this location. Okay, here is the place where meristematic tissue is taking place. Okay, here is the place where you can find the meristematic tissue. Right, children? Oh, okay. Then, when you talk about permanent tissue is the right opposite of this. Right? Permanent tissue is the right opposite of this. Right? What do you mean by permanent tissue, children? With the word permanent itself, understand? They lost the ability. They don't have the ability to undergo cell division. They don't have the ability to undergo cell division. If they don't have the ability to undergo cell division, will they be able to produce new cells? If they can't undergo cell division, will they produce new cells?
No.
No. So therefore, new cells will not be produced. Okay? New cells will not be produced. So you know that the root will not grow upward. Therefore, you mark this region as the permanent tissue. As what? The permanent tissue. Right? So did you understand how to identify meristematic tissue and permanent tissue? Zainab Yahya, what didn't you understand, child? Let me know, I'll explain it. Meristematic tissue, right? So meristematic tissue, now you know that plant tissues are classified into types based on their cell division. So cell division means what? You know that cell divisions are mainly two types as meiosis and mitosis. Meiosis is a process where they undergo cell division and produce new cells. Simple idea. Okay. Then mitosis means where they don't undergo cell division and they will not produce new cells. New cells are not produced. Okay. So similarly, based on that idea, the plant tissues are being classified into two as meristematic tissue and permanent tissue. As meristematic tissue and permanent tissue. Now, when you talk about the meristematic tissue, they will undergo cell division. Right, children? What will they do? They have the ability to undergo cell division. Now, when a tissue is undergoing cell division, you have to know that they will produce new. Okay, they will produce new cell. As a result of undergoing cell division, they will produce new cell. So, those type of tissue you call as meristematic tissue under plant tissue. Right? So similarly, when you come to the other side, okay, other side, if you come on the other hand, what do you have? The permanent tissue. Permanent tissue has lost the ability to undergo the cell division. They don't undergo cell division. So when the tissue lost the ability to undergo cell division, will they produce new cells? No. Okay, they will not produce new cells. So therefore, that type of tissue, that type of plant tissue, you call as the permanent tissue. Is that clear to you? Everyone?
Why is the permanent tissue located upwards?
Because when the cell division takes place, now you take this is a root, okay? How does a root grow? Downward. So which means downside they are taking place the cell division, right? You consider, so therefore you consider that region to be the meristematic tissue, and the upper region you consider that to be because the root do not go upwards, they don't grow upwards. So therefore there is no cell division, right? There is no cell division. Therefore you consider that part to be the permanent.
Now, teacher, if the root grows, the location of the permanent tissue and meristematic tissue will change, no?
Sorry, come again.
Now, when the root grow downwards, the location of the permanent tissue and meristematic tissue will change, no?
What do you mean now? Initially this was this size. When it grows down, this is the part we
Yeah.
are talking about. Yeah, it
Yeah.
will change. It will go further, right? The meristematic tissue will be continuing growing further downward, and the permanent tissue will be upward.
Okay.
So, is that clear to everyone here? Are you all clear? Did you all get the idea of what is permanent tissue and the meristematic tissue?
Yes, teacher.
Right. Now, children, for now, you are going to first of all, you are going to focus on meristematic tissue. You are going to study that in detail. Then later, we will be coming to permanent tissue. For now, you are going to forget about this permanent tissue. Start focusing on meristematic tissue. Right? So, let's study about the meristematic tissue in detail. Okay? Right. Now, when you talk about the meristematic tissue, they have certain features, right? Or else in other terms, you can call as characteristics as well, right? So let's study their features, okay? So the very first one. When you have the cells, you know a tissue is made up of cells. So when you have a group of cells, the cells in the tissue, meristematic tissue, you can't differentiate the cells. All the cells will look the same. No difference. You can't differentiate the cells. So, cells cannot be differentiated. That is a very first one that you have to remember. The very first feature that you have to remember is that. What is that, children? The cells of the meristematic tissue cannot be differentiated. Is that clear?
Yes, teacher.
Right. Then let's move to the next one. Right? Then, children, the number of large. Okay, you have large number of small size cells. Okay, you have how many? You can find large number of small size cells. Okay, large number. You will find numerous number of large number of cells. Okay, large number of cells of small sized large number of cells. That way it will be clear. Okay, the cells are small in size. Okay, the size is small, but you find a large number. Okay, a large number of cells is present under the meristematic tissue. That is the second one. That is the second one that you have to know. Then as for the third one, you have to know that they have large number of mitochondria. Right. So now tell me, children, what is a mitochondria? Have you learnt about mitochondria earlier? Obviously, you all are supposed to learn. Yeah, the powerhouse. Right? This is how a mitochondria will look like. Okay. Okay, you have a large number of mitochondria. Right? So when I draw the organelles, when I draw the structure, you will easily understand. Instead of me writing the entire line or the entire sentence, when I draw simple diagrams, it is easy for you to grab what is said. Okay? Then, as for the fourth one, the fourth feature or the fourth characteristic, there is the absence of large vacuole. What is a vacuole? Do you know what is a vacuole? The sac-like thing. Do you know what is a vacuole?
Yes.
Okay. So large vacuoles are absent. Okay. Large vacuoles are absent. You don't find large vacuoles. Instead of that, since there is no large vacuoles, small vacuoles may present, not 100%. Okay, may present. Okay, may present of small vacuole. Okay, small vacuole. Okay, fourth feature. Then, as for the fifth one, there is a distinct nucleus. Do you know what is a nucleus? Do you know what is a nucleus?
Yeah, the structure which
Ah.
control all the cellular activities.
Very good. So each and every cell will have a distinct nucleus, something like this. Right? Every cell will have the distinct nucleus. So these are the 5 features that you have to know under the meristematic tissue. The 5 features of meristematic tissue. Once again, let's have a quick revision on what did we study. So then it will be very clear to you. Right? So when you talk about meristematic tissue, they have 5 features. You have to study about 5 features. The very first feature is the cells cannot be differentiated. Second one, large number of small size cells. Third one, large number of mitochondria. Fourth one, absence of large vacuole may present a small vacuole. That is not 100% sure, may present. Some may have, some may not. Okay. Then each and every cell have a distinct nucleus. Right. So that is what you have to know under the features of meristematic tissue. Is that clear to you all? Anyone is having a doubt? You may ask.
Yes, teacher. But the absence of large vacuole is the characteristic of animal tissue, right?
No, no. This is the animal tissue. They don't have vacuole. Okay, only plant tissues have vacuole. But under meristematic tissue, since that is a combination, a group of cells, some may have vacuole, some may not. That is the idea. Since large vacuoles are absent, obviously small vacuoles may present in few cells. So that is the idea. Obviously, you don't find vacuole in the animal cells, right? That is only one of the organelle present in the plant cell. Okay, did you get the idea? Is that clear? Is that clear?
Yes, teacher.
Right. So how about the others? Is everything is okay? Are you clear for now?
Yes,
So
teacher.
make sure this is going into your brain. Everyone just clarify, children. So I want everyone's satisfaction. Everyone, did you all understand?
Yes, teacher.
Right. Which one do you want to repeat, Hamna? This one. The very first picture says that all cells are same. They cannot be differentiated, right? When you talk about the meristematic tissues, they have all same size or same cells where they have the same features, right? So that is the very first one. Is it okay? Is it clear?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So now, is everybody is having the tune? Like, did you all receive the tune from the group? If anyone do not have the tune, please can you all leave a message to this number so then I can share you the tune, because now we are going to do some works in the tune. Are you all ready to do that? Already? Now you should be able to write whatever you learn, right? So children, don't refer to the book. Keep your book aside, right? You don't need the textbook for now, right? So listen what I am telling you, what I am teaching you. So based on that, you can answer. Write your answers on your own, right? Write answers on your own. Don't view any resources or don't refer to any resources. Try it yourself, by yourself, right? Have any doubts, you can ask me. You don't have to refer. So when you refer, you just stick to that itself. You will not learn anything new. Right. Start doing 1, 2, then 3, 4, 5. Write all this. Further, let's study about the features of meristematic tissue in a while. Not the features, like the classification. So if you all don't have the tune, leave a message to this number. I'll send it. If you are not in the group. So once you all are done, let me know, children. So then we can have the discussion for the question. Then we can move to the next part. Right? Write your answers by yourself. If you have any doubts, you can ask me. Right? Maybe you might have forgot certain parts. That's okay. Right? You can ask me. I'll help you. But don't refer to the book. It's like you fool yourself.
Teacher, I've done.
Teacher done.
Okay. How about the others? you people have been completed? So the remaining students, if you all are done, let me know, children, so then we can continue.
Then teacher.
Right, so I think most of you all are done. So then we can move to the next part. Right, so if you all are done, let me know. Right, all the time whenever you do a work. So I always wait for your replies. All right. So then let's continue. Okay. So now children, now you know that you have the meristematic tissue. Now you have studied about what is meristematic tissue, their features and everything. Right. Now this meristematic tissue is being further classified into three parts. Right. Three types. Okay. When you talk about the meristematic tissue, okay, this is being further classified into three main categories. That is not characteristic. The further it is being divided, right? As apical meristem, intercalary meristem, and finally it is being classified into the lateral meristem. Right. So now children, this classification, right? The classification of meristematic tissue further, it was being done. It was done based on their location. Okay, based on their location. Okay, location of the tissue. So based on that criteria only, the meristematic tissue is being further classified into apical meristem, intercalary meristem, and lateral meristem. So now let's talk about their function and where can you find this? The location of apical meristem, intercalary meristem, and the lateral meristem. Right. So normally children, the apical meristem you can find in the root apex. Okay. Root apex, shoot apex, and the axillary bud. Okay. Auxiliary bud. So you can find the apical meristem in the root apex, shoot apex, and the auxiliary bud. Right children? Then the function of the apical meristem, since you can find in the apex part, apex means the above part, right? The up part, right? Now when you take kind of the root, right? When you take the shoot system, right? Where do you find the apex part? Now if this is the shoot system, the entire system, you have the leaf and everything, you find the shoot apex in the top, right? In the top. So therefore children, when you find it in the top, what is going to do? It is going to increase the length, right? It is going to increase the length. It is going to increase the length of the plant. It will make sure the plant is growing taller, right? The function is to increase the length. To increase the length of the plant. Or you can tell the height as well. Better to use the word height. of the plant. Right, children? This is the function of apical meristem. Right? These are the locations where you can find the apical meristem, and this is the function of apical meristem. Right? Then what you have to know next is the intercalary meristem. So normally, children, the intercalary meristem you can find in between the nodes. So nodes are present. Now when you take the carrot, have you all seen carrot? Right? I hope that you all have seen carrot and you live in a world. Do you all eat carrot?
Yeah.
Good. Healthy people. Right? Okay. This is a carrot. A beautiful carrot. Okay. So, in the carrot, have you seen lines like this?
Yeah.
These are considered as nodes. Right? So, intercalary meristem is found between the nodes. Okay? Internodes. It is found between the nodes. So, therefore, children, the function of intercalary meristem is to increase the distance between the nodes. To increase the distance between the nodes. So, therefore, the fruit, vegetable, or the tissue will grow further. Right? So, they will increase the distance between the internodes. Right? So that is the function of intercalary meristem. Did you all understand about apical meristem and intercalary meristem? Is that clear to you?
Yes.
Okay. So then later you have to study about the lateral meristem that you can find in the stem. Right? On either side of the stem. Right? When you take the stem, on both the side. Okay, these two sides, you can find the lateral meristem. You can find the lateral meristem. Right? So lateral meristem, since you can find both the side, on both the side, what will they do is, children, they will increase the diameter. So diameter means that when you look at the cross section, what is a cross section? You cut into half, like a crossway cut. Okay, when you cut something like this, right? What you can see a circle, right? You can see a circle, then something like this. This is how you see when you cut a stem, right? So what will they do is, they will increase the length of this circle, which is the diameter, right? So the intercalary meristem, what will they do is, they will increase the diameter of the stem on either side. Okay, increase the diameter of the stem. Okay, so that is the function of lateral meristem. So once again, let's have a quick recap and then you can write it on your tute. Listen very carefully, relax your mind. Okay, so now children, when you talk about the meristematic tissue is being further clarified into three major categories based on their location. Right? They are apical meristem, lateral meristem, and intercalary meristem and lateral meristem. Right? When you talk about the apical meristem, you should be able to remember the location of apical meristem. Where do you find the apical meristem? Right? So a meristem you can find in the root apex, shoot apex, and the axillary bud. Okay, they are the location. Then children, you have to know the function of apical meristem, that is to increase the height of the plant. Okay. Then when you talk about the intercalary meristem is found in the nodes. Right? You know what is a node now, right? Then children, the function of intercalary meristem is to increase the distance between the internodes. Internodes mean this is one node, this is another node. The distance between these two nodes is known as the internode. Okay, that is what you call it as the internode. Then when you talk about the lateral meristem is present on either side of the stem. Therefore, it will increase the diameter of the stem. This is how they will increase the diameter. When you look at the cross section, you will see a circle. So when they grow higher, when they increase the distance, initially it was something like this. Later it will look as this when they grow. Right? When you compare the size, you can understand the difference. Is that clear to you? Is that clear to you? Everyone, are you all okay with this? Did you all understand?
Yes, miss.
Anyone is having a doubt?
No, miss.
Sure. How about the others? Everyone? Come on, children, talk me. I'm also a human being, not an alien. Come on, talk. So first of all, you should go to a class to speak, right? Have evidence of talking, so don't be nervous, right? Maybe you're in a situation where you can't unmute and speak. At least send messages. So therefore, I will understand you're active in the class. If not, I think you're active. And then children, you have to remember, I forgot to teach you one thing. So when you talk about the lateral meristem, one of the lateral meristem that is only present in the dicotyledonous plant, okay, which is found in the dicotyledonous plant that you call as the cambium. Okay, cambium is the meristematic tissue, which is the lateral meristem, okay, which is found in the dicotyledonous plant. What is a dicotyledonous plant? How many cotyledons are there?
2.
So any examples of trees?
Mango.
Mango, chili, jack. So these are some examples for dicotyledonous plant. So in that dicotyledonous plant, in the lateral meristem, you find one of the special tissue that you call as the cambium. That is present only in the dicotyledonous plant. Make sure you remember that as well. So shall we move to the tute? Shall we do some questions? Are you ready? If you want to have a look to the tute, look into the board, just have a look. So hopefully you are writing alone, right? If you have any doubts, you can ask me. Feel free to talk to me, right? I'm also a human being, okay? You don't have to fear, right, children? Just a joke, okay? Right. Do the question number 6 and 7. Please do it. Then let's further move into permanent tissues. Do it and let me know if you all are done.
Done, teacher.
Okay, how about the others? So others, if you all have completed, let me know, children, so then we can move to the next part. Yeah, this is how the theory class will continue. Okay, so from next week, we will be continuing the remaining part of the lesson, and that's how it will be flowing. Grade 10, we had the free session yesterday. So you have the recording, you can have a look. So past paper class is not starting right now. Once the O-level batch, 2025 O-level batch is done, then only afterwards, maybe in the middle of, maybe the starting of March, I will be starting the paper class. Not for now. So for now, only the theory classes will be conducted. Yeah, the tubes will be provided as e-tube, so you can make the payment like if you are willing to get the printers, then the tubes for 2 or 3 lessons will be combined and given to you. I will be posting in that way as well, so that way also you can get it, or you can get the e-tubes and you can have the printouts anyway. Each theory class is 1,000. Right? If you are joining for the grade 11, you have to pay 1,000. Grade 10, you have to pay 1,000. When you have the past paper class was started, then if you are joining the grade 11 and the past paper class, in total, you just have to pay only 1,500. If you are joining all three, then you can pay 2,500. So totally, you will learn the entire syllabus, including the past papers. So everything will be done under 2,500. So that is the plan that we follow. So if you are done, let me know, children. So then we can move to the next part. So how about the others, everyone? Just clarify, children. Everybody is done. Right. So can we move forward? If you need some time, let me know, children. I can review unless you tell me I will not know how you what do you if you are in need or not. Right. So I think nobody replied for that. So then we can start the next topic. Right? Okay. And then children, before that, can you all mark these parts if you have the printed one? This is the apical meristem, right? Here should be in the internode, there should be the intercalary meristem. And the below part, which is the stem part, mark the lateral meristem. If you have the tip, the printed tip. Okay, you have that, just mark that. Okay, can we move to the next? Are you all done? Can I stop sharing the screen? All right. Okay, children, so then let's move to the next part. Right. Now we are done with the meristematic tissue. So can you tell me, children, what is the other type of tissue that we have to study? We studied about meristematic tissue. What is the other type?
Tissue.
Permanent tissue.
Very good. We have to study about permanent tissue. Children, you all have to talk. If not, it's not going to work. Right? So don't be nervous. Even your answer is wrong, no problem. Open your mouth. Right? I always appreciate the attempt. Not getting the final answer. It's really okay in my class to make mistake. And it is really okay. It is completely fine to give the wrong answer. No problem at all. But I want you to speak up. At least you give the wrong answer. No problem. Even if you don't know, just unmute and tell me, I don't know. I did not know that. Okay? Talk. So then automatically your mind will be stick to the work. That is a scientific, not a study. Right? When you talk, when you interact, you're automatically you're connected towards my voice and my talk. You will start listening attentively. So try that. Okay? Right, children. So as you know that plant tissues are being classified into two major categories, right, based on their cell division. Right? Let me just give you a recap on that. Okay? One is the meristematic tissue, which we have completed doing that. Okay, we have completed doing that, and we have to study about the permanent tissue. So can anyone tell me the definition of permanent tissue? Anyone who is willing to tell me the definition for the permanent tissue?
They lost the ability of cell division and new cells.
Okay, they lost ability of cell division. So as a result of that, what will they gain? If they don't undergo cell division, what will happen?
They won't produce new cells.
Very good. Good. Right? So that is permanent tissue where they lost the ability to undergo cell division. So as a result, where they can't undergo cell division, what is happening? They will not produce new cells. So that is simply about permanent tissues. Right? So now children, when you talk about the permanent tissue, this permanent tissue is being dividing. Okay? It is being further divided into two major categories as simple permanent tissue and complex permanent tissue. Simple permanent tissue and complex permanent tissue. Right. So now children, when you look at the word simple permanent, complex permanent, what can you understand? Can you have an idea of these simple permanent and complex permanent when you just have a look into that? Okay. So I think you all don't know. No problem. Let me teach, right? So when you hear the word simple, that is simple. You don't have a complex idea. There is not too many components, right? So similarly, simple permanent tissue means, remember, they are made out of one cell type. Okay, one cell type. Only one type of cell is present. When you have a one type of cell is made of the simple permanent tissue is made up of one type of cell. While when you talk about the complex permanent tissue, it is the opposite of that, where it is made out of two or more type of cell. Okay, which is made out of two or more type of cell. So that is the definition of simple permanent tissue and complex permanent tissue. Simple permanent tissue means they are made up of one cell type, and complex permanent tissue means they are made out of two or more cell type. Is that clear? Is that clear?
Yes.
Right. Then children, today we are going to talk about the simple permanent tissue. Right? Okay, now This simple permanent, let me teach that also below, then I can start the new explanation, right? Now, simple permanent tissue, no children, this simple permanent tissue also being divided. Now, all the time when you talk about tissue, it is all about division, right? So many divisions to, right? But it is not hard. Let me make it in a simple way, right? So we are not going to do a complex part on once, okay? Since this is the very first class, we are going to have a limited idea, right? When you increase and increase and increase, when you ask any last batch, then you will understand how was it. Okay, when you come closer to the last time, then you will be stressed off. But usually I don't make you stress. I help you. Okay, right. So this simple permanent tissue is also being classified into 3 major categories based on their cell wall and the shape of the cell. Okay, based on the cell wall and shape of the cell. So based on this criteria, the simple permanent tissue is being divided into 3 major categories. Okay, as parenchyma. Okay, parenchyma, collenchyma, and sclerenchyma. Okay, we have to talk about today. We have to study about parenchyma, collenchyma, and sclerenchyma. Are you ready to study about this? Can we start studying about parenchyma, collenchyma, and sclerenchyma? Ready to study? Not ready to study? Yes or no?
Yes.
Good. Right? Everyone should be enthusiastic to study. Are you sleepy, children? Do you feel sleepy? If so, just bring some water and come back to study. Right? Education is important than sleep. In a way, sleep is also important all the time. In the night hours, you can have the sleep, but later you should be focused to study. Right. Now, as I taught you children, there are 3 types of simple permanent tissue as parenchyma. Maybe these words are new to you. Please memorize with me children if you are struggling with these terms. Right. Collenchyma and sclerenchyma. Okay. So we got to study about this. Right. Now, when you talk about parenchyma, first of all, you have to talk about their features. First of all, you have to talk about their features. So now, children, you have to remember that the shape of the parenchyma cell, okay, the shape of the parenchyma cell are isodiametric. Okay, they are what? Isodiametric. So they are circular. They are in a circle. Okay, this is isodiametric. Okay, right. So what is the very first one? They are, let me draw an arrow and write it, isodiametric. Okay, they are isodiametric shape, which is their spherical shape. Okay, now you are grade 11 science student, now you should be a bit advanced. So instead of telling that as a spherical shape or circular shape, you have to tell the term as isodiametric shape. Okay, children. Then you have to know that the parenchyma cells are living cells. They are not non-living cells. They are living cells. Right? Then you have to know that the intercellular space is present. Okay? What do you have to know, children? Intercellular space. Now, what do you mean by intercellular space? Now, normally all of the students will have a confusion in the beginning of what is intercellular space. Let me tell you. Right? Now, what is inter-school competition? Have you been for an inter-school competition? Anyone? Have you all been to for an inter-school competition, like you go for another school to compete with them? Have you all been? Have you all experienced that? Right. Then, what is the competition? How does that work? There is one school. This is your school, A school. And there is another school, which is B school. Right. So what is going to happen? Students from A school will compete with the B school and the B school student will compete with the A school. So the connection between A and B, between those two, that you call as inter-school competition. Similarly, when you have one cell and there is another cell, when there is a space in between them, that you consider as the intercellular space. Right? Now you can find an intercellular space over here. Okay? You can find intercellular space here, which I am coloring. Okay? These are intercellular space. Here you find the intercellular space. So this is what? The intercellular space. Intercellular space. So when you talk about the parenchyma, you can find the intercellular space. Intercellular space is present. Okay. Then the cell wall of the cell. Now you know that normally plant cell will have a cell wall to have the rigidity and stability of the cell to protect. Okay. So they will have a thin cell wall. How will be the cell wall? A thin cell wall. Okay. The cell wall is thin, not that strong. Okay. Then children, you can find nucleus which is pushed to the peripheral region. Okay. Peripheral region means to corner side, somewhere about here. You can find the nucleus which is pushed to the peripheral region. That is one feature of parenchyma. That is one feature that you have to know about parenchyma. Then what you have to know, children, there is a large vacuole. There is a large vacuole. Okay, a large vacuole is present, right? So you have to know all these structures, right? Now, since I have drawn as a structure, that is easy for you to grab the idea, right? It is easy for you, right? So understanding that way, right? You don't have to realize as the way it is given in the book, children. What you have to do is you have to understand what is said there and you have to be able to prepare your own idea. That is easy, right? So listen, let's talk about the features once again. Once again, let's study about the features. Listen very carefully, children. Right. Now, when you talk about parenchyma, the very first thing that you have to tell is the type of the cell, the shape. Right, based on the shape, no, they have been further classified. Okay, so the shape of the parenchyma cell is the isodiametric shape. Right, then the intercellular space is present. They are living cell. Okay, they are living cell. The cell wall of the cell is thin. They have a thin cell wall. Then the nucleus is pushed to the peripheral region. Peripheral region is the pushed to a corner side, closer to the cell. That you call as a peripheral region. Then the presence of large vacuole. Right? So that is what you have to know about the features of parenchyma. Is that clear to you? Is that clear to everyone? Everyone over here. Just verify with me. You all have to talk. It's okay if you can't unmute, but let me know at least in the chat. Because then only I can be satisfied with the teacher.
Yes, understood.
Is everybody clear?
Yes.
Okay. How about the others? Everyone, let me know. Sure. Anything to clarify? Any doubts? If you have any doubts, ask on time and make sure you're not carrying that doubt further. Right? Whatever your doubts based on the lesson, just you can ask me and clear it. So no one is having a doubt. Is that so? Okay. Right. Then children, these are the features that you have to study about parenchyma. Then what do you have to know? You have to know their locations. Where can you find the parenchyma tissue? Okay, you have to find the location. Where can you find this parenchyma? Let me use another color marker as location. Right. So now when you talk about location, when you talk about the stem will have two major structures as like when you, this is how the stem will look like when you cut as a cross section, right? So the outermost region, the one that is very closer to the outer circle which I have drawn, that you call as the cortex. That you call as the cortex. Then the innermost region you call it as the pith. Right, innermost region you call as the pith. So the parenchyma tissue can be found in the cortex and the pith of the stem. Cortex and the pith of the stem. Of the stem. Right, children, that is where one location. That is one of the location. Then you can find them in the fleshy part of the fruit. Okay, the fleshy part of the fruit. You can find the parenchyma tissue. Right. So why it is a fleshy part? That is because the cell wall is thin. So when the cell wall is thin only, that is you can identify with a less rigidity. There is no much strength to protect. Okay. Right. Then the third one. Then the pith and the cortex. The cortex and the pith of the root as well. Okay. One is the stem and the other one is the root. On both you can find the parenchyma tissue. And as for the fourth one, you can find them in the leaves and the seed. Okay, seeds and leaves. You can find the parenchyma tissue. Right? So, is that clear to you? Any doubts? Any doubts on this part? If so, ask me. All clear? Right. So now children, you have to know their functions. Now you studied about the features, you studied about the location, and as for the last part of parenchyma, you have to study about the what? Functions. What are the functions they undergo? Right? So the very first function that they can undergo is the photosynthesis. Okay? They can undergo photosynthesis process. Right, that's the very first function. Then as for the second one, they can store food. Okay, food storage can be done. Then as for the third one, they can provide support. Okay, they can provide support to the plant. Then as for the last one, they can store water, storage of water. So these are the functions of parenchyma. What are those, children? To undergo photosynthesis, storage of food, provide support, storage of water. Is that clear to you?
Yes, miss.
Yes, miss.
Right. So once again, let's go through what you studied and you are going to write that on your board clearly. Right? So listen. Listen very carefully, children. Right. So, parenchyma is one of the tissue, a simple permanent tissue. Right. So, what you have to know, the shape of the cell is isodiametric. They are living cell. Presence of intercellular space. The cell wall is thin. Nucleus is pushed to the peripheral region. Then, presence of large vacuole. Right. Can you all process all the features of the parenchyma? Do you have any doubts under this, children? Any doubts that you have to clarify?
No, miss.
No, miss.
Okay, very good. Then when you talk about the locations, you can find in the cortex and the pith of the stem. So you know what is the cortex. The outermost region you call as the cortex. The innermost region you call as the pith. Okay, so cortex and the stem of cortex and the pith of the stem and the root as well, and the fleshy part of the fruit, seeds and leaf. Okay, in those also you can find the parenchyma tissue. Then as for the function, which is written in the red color, those are the functions. So they can undergo the process photosynthesis, food storage, provide support, storage of water. Is all clear to you? Everything clear? Anything to clarify?
No, Miss.
Right. So can we move to the tube? Can you answer the questions now? Is everything is flowing to your brain, children?
Miss.
Should flow. Okay. So hopefully you are learning something new. Right. So now let's do the part for the parenchyma. Let's complete the column of parenchyma. So do these two questions. Written as two types. It should be three types. Two types of permanent tissue. Yeah, that's correct. That's correct. Okay. And start filling the A column. Okay, here. Start filling the A column. Picture is also given. And in the given picture, can you all mark the intercellular space, the vacuole and the nucleus as given, which I have drawn in the picture. Can you mark that in the picture which I have given you, children? Just draw some arrows and do it. If the tube is not printed, you don't have the printed tube, please draw some as what I have drawn. That would be better. So mark the features, write all the features, right? Locations, and as well as you have the functions. So complete the A column. A should be the parenchyma. Complete that column and let me know. And in the meanwhile, in the meantime, if you have any doubts, you can ask me, right?
Done, teacher.
How about the others? If you all need more time, let me know, children. If you all are done, also let me know. So let's wait for a few minutes since children are doing yet. So I think most of you all are done. So then we can move to the next part, right? So let's study about collenchyma. Right. Okay. So is anybody doing still? No, right? Everybody has completed, no?
Yes, miss.
Oh, right. So now, children, we have to study about collenchyma. Right? Let's study about collenchyma. Right. So now, children, when you talk about the collenchyma, it is also a living cell. Right? Collenchyma is also a living cell. Right? So let's study the structure. Right? So they are polygonal and elongated structure. The cell, the shape are polygonal. Right? Their shape is like elongated kind of. Okay? Big. Okay? So it's kind of like little bit elongated. Okay? So it is like further being elongated. So those kind of cells, right? It is elongated, right? So when the cells are being elongated, right? Their cells are being elongated, then they can have may or may not present of intercellular space. Some may have the intercellular space, some may not have the intercellular space. So let me mark and tell may or may not present of intercellular space. Okay, may or may not present of intercellular space. Right, children? Then, as usual, there like now the cell wall is there. Now. The cell wall is thickened. Now, when you study the parenchyma, it was thin. Right? Now, the cell wall is thickened by a substance called the cellulose. Do you know what cellulose? Have you studied in grade 10, unit 1? Have you all studied that, children? What is
Yes,
cellulose? It is a polysaccharide, one of the carbohydrate. So normally the cell walls are made by cellulose, right? So collenchyma cell wall is made out of cellulose, right? It is thickened, okay? It is thick, right? Not as the cell wall of cell wall of parenchyma, right? So the next one what you have to know is the nucleus is pushed to the peripheral region as the parenchyma. Then they also have a large vacuole. They also have a large vacuole. Okay, large vacuole. Okay, then the nucleus. right? So this is the structure that you have to know. This is the structure that you have to know. What is that, children? The cells are elongated and polygonal, may or may not present of intercellular space. They are living cell. The thickened cell wall is made out of cellulose. Large vacuole is present and nucleus is moved to the peripheral region. Is that clear?
Yes, miss.
Okay. So then let's move to the next. Let's move to the next, right? So then what you have to know the location, where it is located. So normally, children, it is located in the epidermis. Okay, it is located in the epidermis. So epidermis is the upper layer of the tissue, like when you have a stem or whatever the anatomy, the upper layer you call as the epidermis, right? Epidermis of the herbaceous. Okay, herbaceous I'll explain you in the next class when we are studying about the complex permanent tissue. For now, just remember there's some kind of stem called the herbaceous stem. So you find the collenchyma in the epidermis of the herbaceous stem, right? That is one location. Then also you find in the veins of the dicot leaves. You know the dicotyledonous plant? The leaf of that, in the veins of that leaf, you can find the collenchyma tissues. Right? So as for the function, there are two function process, that is to provide support. Okay? To provide support to the it will provide the mechanical support. In that way you can tell. Okay, it will provide mechanical support. Then, as the last one, they can undergo photosynthesis. Right? So, these are the two functions of collenchyma. Is that clear to you? This is a very short one. You don't have much to learn about it. Is that clear?
Yes, miss.
Okay. So, can you all please write this down as well soon, so then we can discuss the collenchyma as well. So in the next class, we can study the next topic. So once the session is over, if possible, send me a feedback on how was the session, so then I can just have a look on whether did you all understood or not. Okay. So fill this area with. I'll give you around 2 to 3 minutes. So do it soon, so then we can move to the Skype. So once you all are done, let me know, children, so then we can move to the next part. Okay, children, are you all done? Can we move to the next part?
Yes, Miss.
Right, how about the others? All completed? Can we move to the next, the last topic of the day? Okay, so I hope you all are done. So let's move. Right. So the last one is the sclerenchyma. So we are supposed to talk about sclerenchyma. Right. Now, when you talk about sclerenchyma, children, sclerenchyma cells, sclerenchyma tissues are non-living cells. Okay, they are non-living cells. Right. So they are, the type of them is non-living cell. Right. So when you talk about the structure, they don't have a definite or they don't have a regular structure. Right. The structure is like they don't have the same type of cells. Okay. This is not similar. Right. Something like this. An irregular shape. Okay. The shape of the cell is irregular. Okay, but you have to know the shape of the cell is irregular shape, right? So as I told you, they are non-living cells as well. Okay, they don't have the, they are non-living cells. Then children, the cell wall is being thickened by a substance called the lignin, right? Okay, there is a substance called the lignin, right? So lignin is a substance like cellulose, huh? Okay, lignin is a substance like a cellulose, right? So cellulose was used to thicken the wall of collenchyma. So similarly, the sclerenchyma's wall was thickened by the substance called the lignin. Okay, by the substance called the lignin. So it is lignin. Okay, it is lignin. Right, children? So that is about the cell wall. Then there is no intercellular space. Okay, absence of intercellular space. But you have to know absence of intercellular space. Okay, you don't find the intercellular space. Then you have to know that since they are non-living cell, there is no nucleus. Okay, there is no nucleus. At the same time, there is no vacuole. Okay, there is no vacuole. At the same time, there is no nucleus because the cell is non-living cell. So the structure is very simple. The features are simple. What are those? The shape is irregular. The cell wall is thickened by lignin substance. There is no intercellular space. No presence, absence of nucleus and vacuole. Right? Then further you have to know about their locations. Right? So locations are like in the xylem. Right? Next class you will learn about xylem and phloem. Right? So in that part, there is a part xylem fiber. Okay, there is a part called xylem fiber. So xylem fiber and phloem fiber, in that specific part, in the fibers, you can find the sclerenchyma tissues. Right? In that fibers, you can find the sclerenchyma tissue. Right? So that is one location. Right? That is one location. So then as for the next one, what you have to know is like coconut fibers. So normally the fibers are made out of this sclerenchyma tissues. Right? So then as for this function, you have to know that they will provide, okay, provide the support to the plant body. Okay, provide support to the plant body. Right? So that is the function and this is the location. Right? So that's all what you have to study under sclerenchyma. So let's revise once again, children. Listen. So when you talk about the sclerenchyma tissues, you have to know that they have an irregular shape and they are a non-living cell. Right? So the cell wall of the cell is thickened by the substance called the lignin. Right? There is no intercellular space present. Then, since they are non-living cell, there is no nucleus and vacuole. Right? Then the location is in fibers like xylem fiber and phloem fiber. You can find the sclerenchyma tissue. Then, the function is to provide support to the plant body. Is that clear to you? Do you have any doubts? Any doubts to clarify? All right. So can you all please complete the third column? Complete this column. I'll just give you 2 to 3 minutes. Very simple topic. In next class, we will be continuing from here. Right? So if you, yeah, you can make the payment. You can contact me once the class is over, or you can contact the admin as well. So then they will let you know what is the procedure to join the class. So if you all are done, let me know.
Done, miss. Please hold.
Right. How about the others? Hannah, Hamna, and another name. That's a Gmail account. I don't know your name, dear. Are you done?
Yes, miss.
Oh. So then, children, that's all for the day. Did you all understand the lesson? Do you have any doubts to clarify?
No, miss.
Right. So then, if possible, send a feedback to my number so then I will understand whether did you all understand or not. So then I can be satisfied with my work as well. Right? So then, children, take care. Assalamu alaikum. See you in the next class.
Walaikum salam.
Okay.